επόμενος συζητητής είναι ένας φίλος της οργάνωσης και φίλος της χώρας μας, ο κύριος Γιάννος Vertes, μέλος της Ομάδας Εργοδοτών της ΕΟΚΕ από την Ουγγαρία.
Okay, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it is my pleasure to be present at this distinct event. First and foremost, thank you very much for your kind invitation. And I would like to congratulate you to the organizer for having organized such a large-scale and interesting event. It is without doubt that only small and micro businesses can revive communities. As most of the European economy and new jobs are created and supported by SMEs, a policy supporting them should be equally suitable for the rest of the economy. Director General of Enterprise and Industry, Daniel Calleja Crespo, stated that to grow and increase employment, Europe needs more entrepreneurs, and therefore supporting SMEs, micro businesses, is an essential task for the EU and member states. As part of this push for growth, the SBA is being reviewed and the COSME program was put in place as first ever exclusive initiative for SMEs. Putting emphasis on their development is utmost importance. During the past couple of years, we have been living hard times. I remember that back in mid-2007, economic forecasters were regarding the subprime issue more problem of the United States that would not really affect world economy, let alone employment or economies in Europe. However, crisis spread, and in total, 3.25 million jobs were lost in Europe in 2009 and 2010, primarily in industry and agriculture. In the second week of the crisis, with a little exaggeration, even the existence of the European Union was at stake. The good news is that today we see light at the end of the tunnel. Solving economic problems and getting rid of hardship require new methods. The European Economic and Social Committee has been dealing with matters as how the European industry can best emerge from this crisis. We came to the conclusion that sustainable jobs were needed, jobs that enable people to earn income in a safe and healthy working environment and in a climate that respects workers' rights and accommodates fruitful social dialogue. It also means highly productive jobs that provide added value in terms of innovation, quality, efficiency, and productivity. Supporting European Commission Europe 2020 strategy. And of course, beside innovation, we have to support those self-employed and micro businesses that provide employment in small, local communities. Ladies and gentlemen, these are very ambitious goals. Creating sustainable jobs at a time when businesses are using various types of work arrangements, which is increasingly resulting in new forms of employment, including precarious jobs. And this is an issue that has to be tackled even on the smallest scales. The main mechanism for getting around collective agreements seems to be subcontracting, outsourcing, and pseudo self-employment under minimum working conditions. The use of these models has been increased steadily during the recent years. A serious problem is that permanent jobs with decent working conditions are also being converted into precarious jobs based on insecure, temporary contracts with little social security and legal protection in the public as well as the private sector. This is, of course, contrary to the high level of social cohesion defined in the Lisbon strategy. Not all temporary work is precarious. Highly skilled freelancers can do very well for themselves on the labor market on the basis of individual orders. But by definition, precarious when it comes to low-skilled and unskilled jobs in manufacturing and services. Flex security may be a way of meeting business need for flexible work, but only on condition that the associated security is comparable to the provided by the permanent jobs. Let me tell you that in 2003, Eurostat added working poverty to the European portfolio of social indicators. The percentage of working poor in the EU 27 in 2008 was 8.6%, in part because of the number of decent jobs is failing, while temporary and precarious work is on the increase. This figure increased to 9% in 2013. This leading to an increase in distrust among the population. The good news for Greece, for example, that although the figure is above the European average at 13.1%, is that has somewhat decreased during the past year. Returning to the questions of distrust of the population, we should tackle it. Of course, as an employer, I would not argue that an employee is responsible to achieve profits, but social aspects need to be taken into account. We cannot compete with countries such as China, India, and Brazil on the basis of labor cost. The basic principle is, of course, that Europe must remain competitive against other regions in the world, and this will only be possible on the basis of education, knowledge, innovation, quality, efficiency, and productivity. The European Union must promote and support investment in training and vocational training. Training must also, and primarily, be targeted at the less educated, at older people, at women and immigrants, so that those groups to have the long-term prospect of the place in the labor market. A training program that does not focus solely on performing a specific task, but also gives people the skills to work more widely within the business or elsewhere in the labor market in the best preparation for the future in rapidly changing world. And by suggesting it, I have returned to the question and situation of the small communities. Businesses on the small scale will only be able to compete with their larger counterpartners, create sound employment opportunities, and provide goods and services that are more competitive if they receive proper help through training and education. This is of utmost importance and the only way to solve the problem related to economic crisis. I once again thank you for your kind attention and really hope that together we will find sustainable measures that finally solve economic crisis and bring about social stability for employees. Thank you.